अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः।
अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः।
स्थावरं जङ्गमं व्याप्तं यत्किञ्चित् सचराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः।
चिन्मयं व्यापि यत्सर्वं त्रैलोक्यं सचराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः।
गुरुवे 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 सर्वश्रुतिशिरोरत्न विराजितपदाम्बुजः वेदान्ताम्बुजसूर्यो यः तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः।
चैतन्यशाश्वतशान्तो व्योमातीतो निरञ्जनः बिन्दुनादकलातीतः तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः।
ज्ञानशक्तिसमारूढः तत्त्वमाला विभूषितः मुक्तिप्रदाता च तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरुवे 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 गुरुवे
अनेकजन्म सम्प्राप्त कर्मबन्धविदाहिने आत्मज्ञान प्रदानेन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः।
शोषणं भवसिन्धोश्च ज्ञापनं सारसम्पदः गुरोपादोदकं सम्यक् तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः।
न गुरोरधिकं तत्त्वं न गुरोरधिकं तपः तत्त्वज्ञानात् परं नास्ति तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः।
मन्नाथ श्रीजगन्नाथ मद्गुरु श्रीजगद्गुरु मदात्मा सर्वभूतात्मा तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरुवे 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 गुरुवे
गुरुरादिर्नादिश्च
गुरुः परमदैवतं
गुरो परतरं नास्ति तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः।
Hari Om, and a warm welcome to everyone who has joined us this evening across the nation and the globe for the national seminar conducted by the Chinmaya Yuva Kendra, the youth wing of the Chinmaya Mission. I am Malvika Shetty from Mumbai, and Prateek, your co-host, is from Chennai, and we've been members of the Chinmaya Yuva Kendra for more than 10 years now. We are Yuva Veers that serve the nation full-time for 1 year and continue to do so through the Chinmaya Mission. We are so happy to welcome each one of you to this seminar today with this introduction video. Chinmaya Yuva Kendra is a vibrant youth community spread across the nation and the globe and conducts interesting camps, seminars, and workshops on topics ranging from culture, spirituality, Vedanta, India, and everything relevant to the youth today.
Thanks, Malvika, for that very warm welcome. You remember how growing up, festivals used to literally be the most exciting things that we would look forward to as children? Beginning with Pongal in January, followed by Shivratri, Ram Navami, Hanuman Jayanti, and then the Festival of Colors, Holi, followed by Raksha Bandhan, Krishna Janmashtami, Ganesha Chaturthi, and then Dandiya nights during Navratri used to be the highlight. And then we would start setting the stage for Deepavali through Dashera, and the lead up to Deepavali with Bijli bombs and helping parents clean our houses. Those are all reminders of good times, good festivities, good food, prayers, and so much more, right? But have you wondered at some point what role do these festivals play in our society? What would happen if these festivals did not even exist? Or worse, we begin feeling that they are a social nuisance or waste of resources. For instance, today we suddenly find crackers on Deepavali polluting, colors on Holi damaging, the milk on Shivratri wasted, the music on Navratri too loud, and the Visarjan of Ganesha is bad. As we hold these questions in our mind, let us begin the program that promises some answers. Now, as Bharatiya tradition goes, I invite Yuvavir Srinisha to render the invocation.
भारत साम्राज्य सुखे विजये भावित सुखदायी सततं भव भव चिरञ्जीवी भव चिरञ्जीवी भव चिरञ्जीवी सकल हृदय भुवि सुकृत प्रकाश समुदित मानस शांत प्रदेश प्रकटीकृत परिपूरिताश परमखिल परानंद निदेश भारत साम्राज्य सुखी निरुपम करुणा पूरित देह निखिल जनानंद वारिवाह सुरुचिर महिंसा शोभन गेह समरस विश्वं गीत संदोह भारत साम्राज्य सुखी विजयी भावित सुखदायी सततं भव भव चिरञ्जीवी भव चिरञ्जीवी भव चिरञ्जीवी
Such a pleasant invocation. Thank you, Srinisha. This evening, we look forward to thought provoking sessions and insights into Hinduism and specifically about the significance of Diwali celebrations with our three experts in these subjects. Swami Mitrananda, the dynamic and adventurous monk from Chinmaya Mission, Miss Rami Niranjan Desai, an author, researcher, anthropologist, and a theologian, and Swami Sharadananda, the resident Acharya at Chinmaya International Foundation, followed by an interesting question and answer round and a special message by Swami Swarupananji, the global head of the Chinmaya Mission. All these in the next 60 minutes. We welcome all the audience who have joined us from across the country and the world. We are so happy to have each one of you with us here today. Before we get into this, have you all wondered who is a Hindu? What is Hinduism? Is it even a religion? Who better than an exponent of Hinduism, a patriot who served our nation, who took Gita to every home across the world, to believers and to non-believers alike. Let's hear our beloved Gurudev, Swami Chinmayananda, the founder of the Chinmaya mission.
This is my mother. In Sanskrit, mother doesn't mean religion. It is the Germans who first tried to translate our Sanskrit literature, and they unfortunately made a great mistake. Mata they described as religion because Buddha Mata, religion of Buddha, Christava Mata, the religion of Christ, Muhammadiya Mata, Islam. And then they came to Hindu Mata, and the poor German got confused. Because in the Hindu religion itself, there are very many Mata. It is a composite Mata. Hindu religion contains Shankara Mata, Ramanuja Mata, Madhva Mata, various acharyas who have given the various viewpoint of life, and a viewpoint of life and the attitude or the thoughts of the Upanishads, all they are called Mata, Mata, Mata. So they came to the conclusion that Hinduism is not a religion. Then what is it? It is a way of life. An Irish Padri wrote this for the benefit of Hindus. He wrote it, and it sounds so beautiful. What? Hinduism is not a religion. It is a way of life. You can today hear it in every drawing room, wherever youngsters are sitting and discussing Hindu culture and India, you can hear blabbering this quotation. What? Hinduism is a totally different, it's not a religion. Then what is it? It's a way of life. This is a false statement. No thinking man will accept it or give it any credit at all. What an abominable stupidity is wrapped up in such an attractive sentence. Hinduism is not a religion, it is a way of life. Oh, I see. And Christianity? It is a religion. Oh, so no way of life, is it? What is religion without a way of life? How can there be a way of life without a religion? See? It's a self-contradiction that you are saying. It is not a religion, it is a way of life. If thus Hinduism is not a religion, it is only a way of life, then Christianity is a religion and therefore no way of life. What is religion without a way of life? Is not religion to guide us in our world, in our life? So it is an empty, high-sounding statement. All these spring from one little mistake. They made Mata as a religion. Mata, Sanskrit word, comes from the word Mati. Mati meaning buddhi, intellect. So that which is crystallized in the intellect is called a Mata. So Mata only means an opinion. So each master, according to the historical period that they appeared, studied the situation of the society and evaluated its weaknesses and strength and prescribed a way of life which would suit those people at that time. And this prescription given out by the prophets, saints and sages is called a mother his opinion, Jesus' opinion, the eternal reality remaining the same. Masters come from time to time, give out their opinion, how best the social members of that community of that time can come to live and come to grow and experience this state. The eternal truth is not changed, but religions will change, must change. Truth remaining eternal and the same. Religions keep on changing because the society changes, the individuals change. Our demands and needs, physical, mental, and intellectual, changes from time to time. The old religion may not be able to answer all the needs and the demands of the modern society. Thus, the religions must grow to accommodate the needs and the demands of the society, keeping always the highest ideal or the reality in front of you. Only the great prophets and saints and sages can do so, because they are constantly in contact with the higher state of consciousness. Without compromising those highest reality, adjustments have to be made from time to time. The religion must get updated, or else the society will run away from religion and start living themselves independently. Thing. Not to change is called fundamentalism. When a tree is planted, to protect it, let us say, that I put a concrete tube around it to protect it from the grazing cattle. The plant grew. As years passed by, the plant is a living thing. Its stem, its trunk started growing. Now this concrete thing is not elastic. But the tree is a dynamic living being. So you start growing. But the concrete tube will not allow it to grow. Do you know what will happen? The tree grows outside the tube. That tube is absorbed into the system of the tree. Put a wire around a tree. After 3-4 years, you find the wire you cannot find. Why? It has been absorbed into the system. The tree cannot be stopped because of the wire. Thus the old religion while embracing, and the society grows, this embrace must become elastic, yielding them to grow, and yet hold them together. Not like an iron belt, but as a living, appreciating embrace of love. Thus, like the bark of a tree, the bark of a tree holds the trunk together, and as the cambium from within grows, the bark yields, and yet holds the tree together. Religions always change. And that religion that dynamically changes according to the needs of the society and embraces the new demands of the society. It is such religions and cultures live a long, long life. Hinduism is a typical example. Thousands of centuries it has lived only because of its elasticity. Greek and the Roman and the Egyptian and the Macedonian cultures broke down? Because at a certain period of time, when the new demand started in the society, the old religion will not yield, became orthodoxy and choked. And therefore, the society walked out of religion and lived independently. Life cannot be stopped. Just as a perennial river cannot be blocked. You may make a wall, but it will overflow. Because it's a perennial river, much more dynamic is life. So here Krishna says, my mother. My mother therefore only means this, my opinion. This secret of achievement that I have given to you is my opinion. If you want, you accept it, or else you reject it. You have got the freedom to do so. But this is my opinion.
That, folks, was the master laying to rest the debate whether Hinduism is a way of life or a religion, for both are one and the same. Now, I see a lot of hands that have been raised. And for those curious minds who have questions, please remember, you can send your questions to the co-host named Your Questions if you're watching the seminar on Zoom. I repeat, if you have questions and you're watching the seminar on Zoom, please send it to the co-host named Your Questions. If you are watching the seminar on another platform, please type it in the comment section of the respective platform. Remember, in your question, mention the name of the person who your question is directed to. Otherwise, your questions will not be valid. With that, we move on to beginning the program. For introducing the first speaker of our day, Ms. Rami Niranjan Desai. While Ms. Desai wears many hats, her biggest and most significant contributions have been in the northeastern parts of India, where she has traveled for 14 years. With a bachelor's degree in theology and a master's in anthropology and sociology of religion, her work in the Northeast spans over a decade, studying and developing literature on key issues like religious conflicts and conversions, insurgencies, demographic change, and border issues. As the founding director of the Northeast Policy Institute, Guwahati, she was key in producing a large number of research papers, policy reports, and magazines. She has also been associated with other premier institutes of India, such as the Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Shyama Prasad Mukherjee Foundation, and the India Foundation. Her work among the insurgency-affected Vanvasi group is particularly noteworthy as insurgency was at its peak during her years there. Books authored by Ms. Desai include Rajarshi Bhagyachandra and the Bhakti Movement in Eastern Literature and Cultural and Religious Transitions in the Northeast India. I now invite Ms. Desai to deliver her talk on the role of Hindu festivals.
Namaskar, and thank you for that introduction. It really is an honor and a privilege for me to be here amongst all of you today. And, I think it's a wonderful time to be here. It's our festival season. It's such an auspicious time. But first of all, I would like to thank All India Chinmaya Yuva Kendra for organizing this very, very important national seminar. I would like to thank my highly esteemed co-panelists, Swami Mitrananda and Swami Sharadananda. It is such a privilege for me to be on a panel alongside them. Also, Swami Anukulananji and the rest of the organizing team that have done such a stellar job in putting this together. I'm very, very impressed at how meticulously this event has been put together. But lastly, and this is certainly not the least, I would like to thank my elders who've always given me their blessings, and I would not be here without them, and I would not be articulating my views today to all of you. Having said that, I am in the Northeast right now as we speak. I'm here to do some more further research and to take interviews of persecuted minorities in this area. So please forgive me because I'm functioning on very little sleep right now. But having said that, without much ado, I would like to immediately begin with addressing the subject of my talk today, that is the role of Hindu festival in Bharat society, culture, and economy. Now, when I was asked to speak on this topic, I gave it a lot of thought because, when there is audience of your caliber, it that has taken out time to hear us out, it is extremely important for us as speakers delivering talks to push the dialogue one step further towards critical analysis based on logic and not simply emotions and rhetoric. So when I was analyzing this topic for myself, I found that the first question that popped up in my mind and that came to me immediately was, why do we need to explain the role and importance of Hindu festivals? Is it not self-evident by observation? The second question that came to my mind was, why is it that only I have to defend my traditions, my festivals, my civilizational inheritance? Why does a Christian not have to defend Christmas? Why does a Muslim not have to defend Bakra Eid or Eid al-Adha? Why does an American not have to defend Thanksgiving or the 4th of July? After all, I can really point out excesses and problematic dynamics in all these festivals, and I will do that in a bit. But sadly for myself, when I was thinking about this, I found that my immediate response was a response of defense. And I am sure I am not alone in feeling this way. But when I pushed myself for answers, I found that the answer to all these questions were twofold. One, of course, is that we suffer from self-doubt. We are apologetic for being us. This is obviously due to centuries of invasions and alien rule that try to replace our civilizational character with their own denting, but fortunately not entirely destroying our image of ourselves, our self-image. However, the psychological impact of this has resulted in some of us associating modernity to westernization and regressiveness to Bharatiyata. For instance, some people will very happily burst crackers on the 4th of July while they live in the US or while they're traveling in the US. But Diwali firecrackers, that's not so cool. The second part is that we have begun to contextualize all aspects of our life to wealth creation and to immediate gratification. We avoid effort unless it is tangible immediately, unless there are foreseeable benefits, that too immediately. Like they say, time is money, very apt for us. So, for instance, like I'm from Delhi. So, we in Delhi, you'll find that a lot of people throw a lot of money at card parties during the Diwali time, the festival. Both these aspects by themselves are dangerous enough, but combine them together and you'll find civilizational devastation that is leading us to a complete denial of our very own civilizational inheritance and intelligence. And therefore, sadly so, many today think that our festivals are regressive, environmentally unfriendly, patriarchal, not in sync with the values of the modern world. But if we think so, then it's only fair that we ask each other if we actually know enough to make these judgment calls, or are we just fascinated by these ideas of modernity and westernization? Now, don't get me wrong. I understand that with globalization, there will be an exchange of soft power and there will be elements of westernization in us. For God's sake, I am a product of this exchange, but The issue is not this exchange. The objection lies with disassociating ourselves and our way of life with our civilizational inheritance and intelligence, because we ignorantly think relinquishing our past is modernity, wherein all that really is the lack of pride and understanding of this civilizational inheritance, which results in us having to justify our traditions, that is the very foundation of our culture and therefore our society and our indigenous economy. Now, Bharat to me is unlike any other country in the world. It is special and unique, for its existence is ancient. When a civilization is this ancient, it's natural that it evolves, and by nature of this evolution, it carries with it each and every segment of society. By the nature of its evolution, it finds solution to every need that a society has, and by this very nature of evolution, it creates a culture that is so rich and complex, yet so egalitarian, that it remains relevant in an ever-changing world. And our Hindu festivals and traditions are absolutely living proof of this. Now, you see, unlike anywhere else in the world, our festivals and traditions, that is our culture, our society, and our indigenous economy, are all interconnected and interdependent. They are in equal parts the most important stakeholders that form the very backbone of our civilization. Let me explain this. First, let me explain the impact of Hindu festivals on our society and culture. We have hundreds of festivals. If we were to look at the Panchang, we would find that nearly every day has spiritual, religious, astrological, environmental, cultural relevance. We celebrate and we hold sacred everything that is important to a society: harvest season, the waxing moon, waning moon, new moon, sacredness of our animals, rivers, weapons, our divine gods and goddesses, our gurus, our relationships, so many things. And as a result, what do these festivals do? They bring together our society, our brethren, to organize these festivals, to conduct these festivals, to bond with each other, to rejoice, to be happy. Festivals are the very fabric of our society, and it is because of these tightly knit festivals, these tightly knit traditions, that we have been able to persevere, preserve, and survive the constant onslaught on our Hindu faith and practices. It is because of festivals that we still have such a unique culture, that we have the kind of humility that we do, the idea of respect, responsibility, and most importantly, duty, dharma that we do. Do you see the kind of reverence that we have towards our elders or gurus anywhere else in the world? When I watch the Kavariyas, there are lots of them that walk by during the season in Delhi. I find I see more and more boys carrying their elderly parents for their tirth yatras on their backs, with hanging. And where in the world do you think you would see that? But no, today we are expected to understand compassion, responsibility, civility from alien cultures. Look at our reverence to our environment, to trees, for instance. Time in memoriam, we've held them sacred. We've celebrated them and associated them to divinity. We even had laws that have protected them long, long before Western environmentalists took up the cause. Kautalya is a prime example of this. This is our culture. This is what our society is made up of. These might be modern values to others, but to me, these are ancient Hindu values, and this is why we are as refined a people as we are, more than any other civilization, and I have no qualms in saying that. Whereas on the other hand, let me bring in other non-Hindu festivals, but let me clarify this first. My culture, my religion does not allow me to put anybody else's culture or practices down, but it does very much allow me critical thinking. It allows me to expose hypocrisy. I don't see anyone calling out Christmas due to environmental issues. Um, do you know that 120 million Christmas trees are cut down every year across the world, creating 2 to 3 billion kilograms of carbon footprint? The US cuts down nearly 40 million trees for Christmas, UK nearly 8 million, 46 million turkeys are killed for Thanksgiving, and the consumption has only increased by 104% since 1970. In UK alone, 230,000 tons of food is wasted on Christmas. Hundreds of thousands of plastic packaging, wrapping paper, wastage of food, and just mad consumption. The carbon footprint is mind-boggling, and Indian celebrities have the audacity to call out firecrackers on Diwali, wherein they are seen with firecrackers on the 4th of July in America, which, by the way, on a single day emits 50,000 metric tons of carbon dioxide in the air. On Eid ul Adha, a Naveed Khan, many of you may have read this, in Bangalore was giving doorstep service to slaughter goats. In Moradabad, one year, the blood of slaughtered animals got mixed up with the city corporation's water supply pipeline and was supplied to homes through their taps. There is a public health emergency every year due to this. But is anyone telling them to tone their festivals? Not really. It means because in India, unfortunately, it is us who are self-critical. We want to be self-sacrificing, like there is some award at the end of it. There's no award. There is only and only dilution of culture. There is only and only cultural loss. Anyway, you know, we have even failed to recognize basic things. We failed to recognize what these festivals do for our national unity and, more importantly, our economy. Ganesh Chaturthi is really a prime example, and there have been studies done on it. Studies have shown how Ganesh Chaturthi fosters national cohesiveness, promotes communal harmony, preserves family values, revitalizes economy, and creates cultural tourism, much like our Tirth Yatras. 87% of India's tourism comes from domestic tourists. For instance, the Divine Venkateshwar temple in Tirumala is India's biggest money spinner. It attracts 40 million devotees every year. All temple towns have economies dependent on this huge influx of domestic tourism, for the flower sellers, to the restaurants, to the priests, to the transportation. Everyone benefits. Our culture, our festivals, our temple towns carries everybody with them. Similarly, we have, when our festivals happen, we have a huge impact on all businesses. Everything from textiles, automobiles, jewelry, real estate, food, everything picks up. But most importantly, our indigenous artisans are benefit. Do you know that the artisan industry is the second largest employer in the country, only after agriculture? This means that your potters who make clay diyas, your artisans who make idols of our deities, the trinkets that we use to decorate our homes, the children's toys that represent symbols of our festivals, garland sellers, every single thing we use is naturally artisanal in our civilization, unless, of course, you're silly enough to buy really tacky Chinese goods. That's why, I find that our Prime Minister's call to go vocal for local is absolutely commendable. It doesn't just put the onus on the artisans to find business, but on us as consumers to reclaim our indigenous economy, to be responsible and to take that responsibility head on. Last year, during COVID, the Indian economy, let me tell you, did extremely well. The numbers just before Diwali were so good. that they called it September surprise. October was even bigger and better. GST collections went up by 10%. Maruti reported increases of more than 19%. Two-wheeler manufacturers reported the highest sales in the year. Tractors were selling so fast that they had to do 3 shifts just to keep up with the demand. Sales didn't go anywhere close to this during Christmas or any other non Hindu festival. But Diwali brought us back on track. It put food on people's tables. And in a corona virus hit economy, do you think the Diwali bumper only impacted Hindus? Of course not. Like, it impacted all communities. All communities benefited irrespective of their faith. As I said earlier, some of us, because of the lack of knowledge of our civilizational inheritance, have lost confidence and pride in ourselves. We see our festivals, our culture, our society with alien lenses because our way of life has been diminished by invaders, by colonialists. I feel we've developed some sort of like a Stockholm syndrome variant where instead of defending our civilizational inheritance, we think that we think that their inheritance is a better option. They thought of us as stone worshippers, as pagans, as savages. So we think of ourselves as the same way. But let me reiterate, this is only one faction of our society, not the majority of it. Not at all. Because if it was that, we would have lost our unique culture long ago. What our ancestors have endured, what they have resisted, their courage is why we have the freedom to practice our faith, which is embedded in our festivals. So, how can we not consider it our duty to protect it, to celebrate it in all its glory, and to consider it our foremost duty to pass the civilizational inheritance to the next generations? I must say here that our festivals must not be diluted to just being mere holidays and celebrations, but we must recognize the spiritual and religious content attached to them. But I will not delve into these two aspects as I am neither an expert nor trained to do so. My senior co panelists will expound on these areas, and I hope to learn more on the same from them. But not to take up much of your time, but to conclude, I would like to say that don't allow yourselves or anyone else to undermine our collective civilizational inheritance and our civilizational intelligence. So-called activists, who throw animal rights and environment at our faces should be shown the mirror without apology till they go and educate themselves about our great civilization. It is not our job to do so because this is just another attempt to dilute our culture and create a deliberate division in our society once again. We, on the other hand, must accept that for us, our festivals are not mere celebrations, but they are the very reason that Bharat exists today. And it remains our duty to preserve their sanctity and hand it over to the next generation, just the way our ancestors preserved it for us. So, with that, I would like to say thank you, and I hope that was meaningful.
Thank you, Ms. Rami Desai, for that brilliant talk, which was so articulate and has all of us set thinking in the right direction. As you correctly pointed out, being unapologetically Hindu is the need of the hour. And your talk was an apt reminder that we shall be proud practicing Hindus and continue celebrating these beautiful Hindu festivals. And here is hoping that all of us are more vocal for local this Deepavali.
Absolutely.
Just a reminder that all of us can send our questions to the account Your Questions on the Zoom chat or on the YouTube chat, which will be taken up after our esteemed speakers have spoken. Thank you. Moving on to the next speaker of the evening, a teacher, a mentor, and a spiritual guide to thousands of dynamic youth across the globe. Swami Mitrananda is a spiritual mentor at Chinmaya Mission, Chennai. Swamiji is the national advisor to the All India Chinmaya Yuva Kendra and the publisher of Chinmaya Udghosh, the international youth magazine of Chinmaya Mission. Swamiji's contribution to the upliftment and development of young minds has always been distinct, as he uses tools like art, adventure, sports, theatre, music, dance, filmmaking, photography, and travel to deliver the deepest concepts of Bhagavad Gita to the youth, making him an instant favorite among the youth and the old alike. Swamiji conceptualized and founded multiple programs and institutions like the Chinmaya Academy of Civil Services, the Chinmaya Academy of Management, and the Youth Empowerment Program. Marquee national level projects such as the Chinmaya Jyoti Yatra, the Gita Mahotsav, Shankara Ekatma Yatra, the National Knowledge Tour of the former President and scientist Abdul Kalam are all Swamiji's brainchild. Swami Mitrananda is himself an avid traveler, a sought-after speaker, and a beloved storyteller. Swamiji is a friend, a teacher, and a mentor unparalleled. I would like to invite Swami Mitrananda to enlighten us on the significance and celebration of Diwali.
Hari Om, Namaskar. Thank you, Malvika, for that introduction. And Rami Desai ji, your talk was very, very enlightening, very, very inspiring. Thank you so much for being with us to inspire the youth. Now, a lady was driving a car and she bumped into another car. And the police came, said, what happened? She said, it's not my fault. She was saying, this is not my fault. You see that guy, he is drinking and he was on a phone. It's not my fault. The police officer looked at her and said, ma'am, you bumped into his car in his backyard. You have bumped into his car in his backyard. And now you're telling that is his fault. We have too many people sitting in our backyard and telling us what we have to do, how we should celebrate, how Diwali should be meaningful. My grandmother taught me how Diwali should be meaningful. Her grandmother taught her how to keep Diwali meaningful. We don't want somebody coming and telling us Diwali has to be meaningful. For a long time, we also played it low, saying, okay, it's a passing statement here, there, people will do, they'll change, that way. But I think time has come where we become more vocal about what we feel, that we can't sit down, somebody coming into my backyard and telling me what I should do. That should end, and we should raise our voice together. Now, Diwali is such a lovely festival. I'm sure most of you, when these kind of interferences were not there, how you celebrated Diwali would always be in your memory. Even today, I remember my childhood days with Diwali. I cannot think of my childhood absence of Diwali. Getting up early, getting new clothes, visiting a temple. And then there's nice feast. And then we sit and burst crackers, fireworks with your friends, with your cousins. Very, very memorable. And we keep looking forward for Diwali to come. It's such a colorful festival of ours, festival of lights. Before I go into the significance of it, Hinduism, you have to understand one thing. When, let us say, sage Valmiki writes Ramayana, recorded Ramayana, Itihasa, that which has happened, historical events, he recorded. But Valmiki's aim is just not to write history. He's not a historian. He's a spiritual teacher who used history to enlighten people. So in Valmiki's Ramayana, you will see poetry, you will see factual incidents, you will see symbolism, mysticism, and that's how he wrote. Much later, after Valmiki, Vyasa wrote the Bhagavad, the 18 Puranas, the Mahabharata, etc. Both these people used historical incidents to web beautiful, meaningful celebrations of various festivals. So if you see, their approach would be all accommodative. All accommodative. The primitive and the sublime would be accommodative. You can find in Valmiki's Ramayana all schools of thought. Dvaita school of thought, Visishta Dvaita school of thought, the Advaita school of thought. One who reads, even the Vyasa, the dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, both the warriors, what they spoke, which Vyasa compiled. If you see, that also has the same. Ramanujacharya has commented on Bhagavad Gita. Madhvacharya has commented on the Bhagavad Gita. Shankaracharya has commented on the Bhagavad Gita. Advaita, Dvaita, Vishishta Dvaita. You see these masters. The books are written in a way to accommodate. Same way, Hindu festivals have two layers: subjective, internal, and external. And both are required. Both are necessary. We cannot only say internal. If you have reached that internal level of celebrating a festival, well and good. But somebody is still down there. They need the external levels of celebrating it to look within. So this is how all our festivals are celebrated. There is a subjective part of it, and there is a outside celebration, external part of it. Both are so beautifully connected if you see them. Just like Valmiki's Ramayana accommodates all schools of thought, Vyasa's literary work accommodates all schools of thought, festivals also accommodate subjective and external, spiritual and ritual. It is a combination, and both are absolutely required. Now, coming to Diwali is such a fascinating festival. It is called Festival of Lights. And this one festival is connected to all yugas. In Satya Yuga, Lakshmi manifested on this day. Now imagine Goddess Lakshmi, Goddess of prosperity, manifested on this day. We worship Goddess Lakshmi in Diwali because she manifested. And externally worshipping her would naturally make us look within, and we can start the wealth inside also to unfold. So worshipping Lakshmi is very important. So please don't ignore. Do a perfect Lakshmi puja. Swami Sharadananda, who will speak after me, will tell you how to do these things. And how to do this kind of puja, how well we can perform that, he would do it. So one is Goddess Lakshmi manifested in Satya Yuga on Diwali. We celebrate. In the Treta Yuga, there was fight between Ram and Ravan. Ravan took away Sita. Rama has to go bring back. Sita again is Lakshmi, incarnation. Ram has to bring it back. Now, the 10-day war, on the 10th day, which is Vijayadasami, Rama destroys Ravan and starts returning back to Ayodhya, where he left Ayodhya 14 years ago. His entry back to Ayodhya, every street in Ayodhya were welcoming Ram with lights. Grand festival, because he was their beloved Lord, beloved King, who took on himself to keep a word. Imagine the value. For Ram, the kingdom and the word which is given, he considered the word to be higher than him sitting on the throne, because he knew his brother Bharat was equally good. So Ram chose the forest, saying, let my brother rule. My father's word has to be honored. And he went. He chose the higher over the lower, went, stayed 14 years, killed the demon king, returned back, and whole Ayodhya was in celebration. I was in Ayodhya 2 years ago on this day. And what a celebration it was. The way in which the streets, even today, almost every street is lit there. So that tradition continues. And naturally, Ram belongs to us. And we celebrate. Now, this is beautiful program. And there is subjective also. Ravan, the 10-headed monster. 10 senses are extrovert, which is full of greed, loot and plunder, steal something. If you see something, cannot control, go and grab it. Absolutely negative qualities. That has to be slaughtered. And Ram did that. Now, naturally, we also have something inside, and we need to destroy that negative. The Ravan inside also should go. Now, you understand there are two, external and internal. That is the beauty. The festivals accommodate both. Subjectively, I should do it. Externally, I should celebrate, because that's the role model Ram we had. That was in Treta Yuga. And then you see Diwali being celebrated for another reason in Dwapar Yuga. There was this asura called Narakasura. Look at the name. Naraka. Narakasura. Asuric tendencies which keeps us in Naraka. He has to be destroyed. You cannot allow something which could make us captive in hell. That has to be destroyed. So Krishna went, destroyed Narakasura. That is why it is called Naraka Chaturdasi. After destroying, after annihilating Narakasura, then they know that this captive hell is no more. People have set themselves free. They started celebrating. All this fall in these 4 or 5 days. So Diwali for us is a festival which extends for 4 or 5 days. And we celebrate because these are the things which has enriched us. So this is how we celebrate. Naraka, why we celebrate Diwali, Lakshmi, Lord Ram, and Lord Krishna. Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga. In 3 yugas, something is celebrated, and all the while we celebrated it meaningfully. And now we are in Kali Yuga. We take inspiration from the past and we celebrate. We are not going and asking people to do, like I'm not going into somebody else's backyard. I do it where I am. And this country belongs to us. And we have celebrated it for years, and bringing in terminologies which we would find very difficult to understand, using these kind of terms continuously, making a Hindu feel guilty to celebrate his festivals. This should stop. In the beginning, when we started the program, you saw Pratik talking about every Hindu festival, there is some issue. Be it Holi, be it Janmashtami, be it Diwali, be it Ganesh Chaturthi, every Hindu festival, be it Raksha Bandhan, any Hindu festival, because festivals unite us. Festivals keep our economy going. Festivals connect us so well, and keep hitting it, take away it. Basically, I think this is a very deep agenda in just making a Hindu festival as a social festival. Take away the rituals, take away the significance, take away the prayers, make it a social festival. To many people, unfortunately, Diwali is a day when new movies are released. At 4 a.m., the theaters are open. Can you believe? And people rush to watch the movie that day. So, and then in the television, you will have some new movie played that day. This is not Diwali. We have our own ways of celebrating, and these were the most beautiful things. But it has ended today to something like this. This is alarming, and this needs to be alerted. That a festival can't go like this. Its meaning has to be understood. Its significance has to be understood, and we should celebrate. Now, coming to the last point, crackers. Oh, crackers were not in India. A conclusion made. And somebody with a PhD will come and tell you. And why these people do, some people who do PhD with a deep intent of dismantling. So they come and say, no, Diwali was without crackers always. No. Gunpowder was in India. Even the Chinese historians have recognized gunpowder. There are temples in my country where people burst crackers as puja. Go to Kerala, you will see. How many temples in Kerala where puja is performed, like an archana, crackers are done. Sound has its own value, and people have their own faith. Both has to be respected. And in Pitru Paksha, Malya Amavasya, the Pitru Paksha. It is our belief that the ancestors come from Pitru Loka. They come and they are with us, and we are sending them back. A gratitude to the ancestors are very important. Pitru Yajna is one of the 5 yajnas we have to perform. What is that gratitude? What they have given us, we must preserve it, hand it over to the next generation. What they have given us, we should know to live, preserve it, hand it over to the next generation. This is our gratitude. And to those Pitrus who are going back, that day there is a great celebration, and people used to use lights and lamps and crackers up, showing up in the sky saying, we are all happy, thanks for coming, now you go back to your planes, we worship, we respect your time, you came for us, now continue your journey. And this was a practice. So firecrackers were not there in India is wrong. We had it in different way. And naturally, anything which you invent has a technology. Nobody's using the same old Nokia phone, right? The phone has improved. You're using different phones, but first what came was something different. Similarly, we had country bombs, country fireworks we had, but over a period of time, the innovation happened. And once the innovation happened, you heard Gurudev saying, Hinduism is a religion which will move according to the times. So when there was innovation coming in, we said, this is beautiful. These are fireworks. Anyway, we were doing differently. We'll add more color to it. And we started using them. Naturally, these kind of fireworks were not there earlier, but that's the beauty of it, that earlier practice is taken and done. And we have done this for a few hundred years. And suddenly few people join and continuously doing it until we voice back. They will continue to do this. So we need to voice out and say, listen, people, we are a harmless society. We worship nature. We will celebrate as we want. Don't interfere. Don't mess in my backyard. I have a right, basic right of me. It is my faith. And crackers are not stopped across. The people who are coming and promoting, when they win a match in the stadium, they burst crackers. Take it away. That's only a celebration. Here it is religion. It is faith. And how can we unsettle people's faith? So this is wrong. So it's time we stand up and we speak and we voice it out that we will celebrate how we want. Nobody will force you. In Hinduism, there is no force. If you are not going to burst crackers, nobody will say anything. If you burst crackers, nobody can say anything. Isn't it? It is not controlled by a priest. Oh, today you did not burst crackers. We will take action on you. No. There is nobody controlling. It's such a dharma of so much of freedom. Don't fall into these traps. What you feel. You feel like celebrating with crackers. Please do it. I do it every year. I don't fall into this trap. Every year we do it. So go to a temple this Diwali. Start that culture again. Go to a temple. It's nice. Most of you come to our centers, Chinmaya Mission centers, or to other centers. That's lovely. We also have an altar and all that. But over and above that, visit a temple. Go to a temple, nearby temple. Wish your friends. Understand something more about Diwali. And now Swami Sharadananda will tell you how to do a puja. Perform it that way. And celebrate with sound and light. And that is Bharat, land of light. Bha means Bhaskara. We are citizens of Bharat, people who love light. Light is knowledge. Light is, everything beautiful is associated with light. Consciousness is also called light. So we are the citizens of Bharat, and let us celebrate how our ancestors celebrated. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Swamiji, for that not subtle messaging. I'm not speaking for everybody, but I definitely did not know how Deepavali was connected through the yugas, and also for emphasizing the need to be proud, not sorry, of our festivals. This will, I hope, definitely push all the viewers harder to discover the meaning behind these festivals. And also the punchline, do not mess in my backyard. With that, I will now go forward and invite Swami Sharadananda to deliver his speech. A master of many arts who knows how to dance and be an expert in Vedic rituals at the same time, Swami Sharadananda joined the 12th batch of Chinmaya Mission's Vedanta course in Mumbai in 2002. Before that, he studied various spiritual disciplines, including Vedanta and yoga from a variety of ashrams and institutions like the Ramakrishna Mission, the Divine Life Society in Rishikesh, Bihar School of Yoga in Munger, and others. A postgraduate student in Advaita Vedanta, he ranked first at the All India level and was awarded a gold medal from the prestigious Sanskrit University, Rashtriya Sanskrit Sansthan, New Delhi. He serves as the member of the Academic Council of Chinmaya Vishwa Vidyapeeth and facilitates many camps at Chinmaya International Foundation. Swamiji is going to speak on the practices connected with the Diwali festival. Swamiji, I invite you to please begin your lecture.
Om Namastestu Mahamaye Sripidhe Surapujite Shankhachakragadahaste Mahalakshmi Namostute. Hari Om. Deepavali is not just one festival, but it is the season of festivals. It's actually of 6-day festival start from the Dwadashi, the 12th day in the dark fortnight. It's known as Krishna Dwadashi. That day we do the Govatsa Dwadashi. It's known as Govatsa Dwadashi. This day we are supposed to worship cow and calf and take their anugraha to remove all the obstacles and all the papavasanas from our heart. So we start this festival from Govatsa Dwadashi. Then comes Trayodasi. The next day is known as Trayodasi. This Trayodasi is worshipped in 2 ways. One is the Dhanvantari Jayanti. It's believed that this day is the day where Dhanvantari Bhagavan appeared with the Amrita Kalasha, the Lord of Ayurveda. Bhagavan appeared this day. So morning we do the worship of Dhanvantari and then take his blessings. And evening is known as the Trayodasi, Dhanteras. In this Dhanteras, now people go and purchase gold, etc. But actually, this day is dedicated for the worship of Dhanvantari, and in the evening we give a Deepadana to Yama. We take a plate filled with rice, and then we keep a diya in that, and then we offer it to the Yamaraja in the night, in the evening, in front of our main door. It keeps to the southern direction, and then we pray to Yamaraja to bless all of us. So Trayodasi is for both this. One is Dhanvantara Puja, and evening Yamadana, for the Yama, Deepadana for Yama. Next day is known as Naraka Chaturdashi. So Naraka Chaturdashi is the day we take a oil bath. Before the sunrise, we should take a oil bath, and then we wear new clothes and worship Bhagavan Yama and do Tarpana to Yama. That is the Naraka Chaturdashi day. And in many parts of India, this day is also considered as the Hanuman Jayanti. So we worship Bhagavan Hanuman also on this day. And then comes next day, the Amavasya day is the Deepavali, the day Sri Mahalakshmi visits our house. So we clean our house, we decorate our house, everything. And then that day, new clothes are worn, and then there will be supposed to be a great feast. And evening, we do the Lakshmi Puja. Mahalakshmi Puja. We keep Mahalakshmi and Ganesha and then worship Mahalakshmi and Ganesha with Shodashopachara Puja. Not only Mahalakshmi, but this day we worship even the Dehali Ganesha in front of a threshold of our house. We write Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Shubh Labh, etc., Sustika, etc., and then we worship that. That is known as Dehali Ganesha Puja. And then we worship the ink pot, because this is actually the end of the financial year. Next day we start the ancient Indian financial year. So this day we worship the ink pot also, and then pen also, and then Mahasaraswati also, and Kubera also, and also the cash box where we keep the cash, that also worshipped and invoke the presence of Kubera and Mahalakshmi in that cash box, and also scale also, and a Deepamala is also worshipped. And then we do the Arati for Shri Mahalakshmi, and then decorate the entire house with lights, and then doing all this Deepavali, etc. We celebrate on this day. So Deepavali is the day of great joy and celebration. Next day, Kartika Shukla Pratipada, is the day of Annakuda. It's believed that this is the day the Gopas worshipped Sakshat Govardhana. So this day we make a small Govardhana and then worship that Govardhana. And then we worship cow also. And then we make Annakuda, a huge pile of rice and Chappan Bhog, 56 items, and worship Sri Krishna, and then give that food to all the needy and then devotees. So that is known as Annakuda festival. Next day is Yamadhyutiya. Yamadhyutiya, how we call it Bhaya Dooj. It's believed that this is the day Sri Yama visited Sakshat, Yama's sister, which is the Yamuna. So Yamuna's house, he went this day, and then Yamuna Devi worshipped Yama. Like that, this day, morning, whoever is staying on banks of Yamunaji, this is a very auspicious day to take bath in Yamunaji. So we do Yamuna Snana, and then we worship Yamunaji, Yama, and the Chitragupta and all others, and then worship them, and then pray for long life and their blessings. And then we go to the sister's house. Sister welcome the brother, and then do the puja for the brother with Gandha, Pushpa, etc. And then a sumptuous lunch is served. So this is a day the bonds are made strong, and the brother gives different kinds of gifts, etc. to the sister also. So in this way, these 6 days, starting from the Govatsa Dwadashi and then ending in this Yamadhyutiya, these days are very blessed days, days of great joy, great merriment, and great worship of the Lord. We worship Mahalakshmi for her blessings, to have all kinds of prosperity in our house. We worship Yama for long life. We worship Yamunaji for purity. We worship cow for their blessings and lot of joy in our life. So these days are very much blessed with different kinds of worship, and may Bhagavan and may Mahalakshmi bless us to have a very wonderful, joyous celebrations. Hari Om.
Thank you, Swamiji. Wow. I will be celebrating so many more rituals this Diwali, but it will be filled with so much of meaning now. We have the detailed talk on Deepavali celebrations by Swami Sharadananda in the Chinmaya International Foundation website. We are posting the link on the Zoom and the YouTube chat. Hope everyone has posted their questions to the account Your Questions on the Zoom chat or on YouTube. We are now opening the floor for the question and answer round. The first question is for Rami Desai ji from Saraswati ji. Gurudev said we should address problematic elements of the religion and keep updating it. Instead of a cancel culture, shouldn't we adopt more inclusive methods and keep up with the festivals?
Of course, I am a very vocal proponent against this cancel culture. I think all that it has created is a grievance. Everybody is just talking about what they're offended by. They're offended by everything. They're grieving everything. They find faults in everything. This is the kind of negativity that has permeated into us, and I think that has permeated into societies, advanced societies. And I think one of the reasons that we are still, to a certain extent, isolated from this grievance culture is because of the kind of culture we have, which, like I said in my talk, is completely unique. It encourages happiness, it encourages celebrations. We rejoice things. We do not belong to a culture that finds faults, and therefore I think. It's very imperative to discard this sort of negativity that is coming in, and claim everything that is good about our civilization, our culture, our civilizational intelligence, which tells us that this is the only way to really live at peace with yourself. I hope
Thank
that
you.
answers your question.
Thank you, Ramiji.
Thank you so much, Ramiji, for answering that question. The next question is to Swami Mitrananda. The question is, how can youth take the lead in setting the right narrative among their social circles and inspire their friends through their actions, especially during festivals like Deepavali and Holi?
Be unapologetically a Hindu first. Enough of shying away, not confident to say, because what you stand firmly will rub to others. What you feel will be contagious. So, first, there is no question of feeling shy. Second, try and use to be more creative, because this generation, the young people, would like to ask logic. They want everything rational, and Hindu scriptures are absolutely logical and rational, backed by science, backed by spirituality. It is a combination of all that we need to explain. So prepare yourself. I would only say those who feel that Hinduism needs a voice now, that you have to stand up for it, then you need to be prepared. Prepare yourself means equip yourself with right information, and then that information, what you have, in whichever way you feel it creative, take up few innovative new methods of doing it, do it that way. It will go across. And in social media, basically your question went to that also, in social media, search for people who mix, like who are talking in the similar ideology, similar wavelength, and start tagging them, so that you see when you're celebrating, there is a bigger group. And that is what social media actually did to us. Earlier, people were feeling very shy, and even if one or two was voicing out, they were felt very, very few people. But when it comes to social media today, and you see there is a huge group, there are lots of people thinking the same. So it actually gives you a lots and lots of confidence. All you need to do is keep yourself well informed, find creative ways to express it, and tag to the most important people. It will go on well.
Thank you, Swamiji. So big thank you for all our panelists for answering our questions. However, everyone else who has questions, they can submit it on the Google form, which is posted on the Zoom chat and is also pinned on the YouTube chat. We will get back to you with all the answers. Thank you. We are now moving forward. Swami Swarupanandaji serves as the head of the Chinmaya Mission worldwide. Swamiji formerly was the regional head of Chinmaya Mission Australia, United Kingdom, Middle East, Africa, and Far East. He is also the Chancellor of the Chinmaya Vishwa Vidyapeeth Trust, University for Sanskrit and Indic Traditions, and the chairman of the Chinmaya International Residential School in Coimbatore, South India. In an era rife with skepticism and confusion about matters spiritual, Swami Swarupananda is a rare voice that blends authenticity with accessibility, theory with self-practice, logic with heart. Here is a short message from him for Diwali.
Shubha Deepavali, Happy Diwali to all of you and your families. You've just attended a very significant seminar to know the significance of our festivals and how they are to be celebrated and why they are to be celebrated. As you must have already known, that most of our festivals is celebrating not only externally, but how wonderful it would be to celebrate internally the victory of good over evil, dharma over adharma, happiness over sorrow, distinctions and differences in oneness. And all our celebrations, festivals bring us together to unite, to share and spread knowledge, happiness to the people around us. Just as one lamp in lighting lamps does not lose its glow, but in fact spreads the glow through those rows of lamps, spreading it all around to even great distance. In the same way, let us through these festivals inspire, get lit, and light up many, many lives. I congratulate our Chinmaya Yuva Kendra for organizing such a program. I encourage all of you to reach out in your village, town or city, our local Chinmaya Yuva Kendra chapter, and make, in fact, every week a celebration of knowledge, a celebration of sharing. All my good wishes to the organizers, to the speakers, to those who have conducted the seminars, as well as all those who have put in their effort to make this possible, to reach out to the maximum. And to all of you who have participated, carry this lamp of knowledge, of love, of sharing in all your festivals to the people around you. Be happy, spread happiness, maximum happiness for the maximum people, for the maximum period of time is the motto of Chinmaya Mission. Pujya Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda spread it and made each day a festival for us. Hari Om.
Thank you so much, Swami Swarupananji, for your closing remarks. And I also would like to take this opportunity to thank the brilliant audience who has been extremely curious, because I could see raised hands throughout all lectures, including the ones that were recorded. And to that end, I have to announce again that the link that has been shared on the respective chat boxes also contains a box where you can drop your questions. So if, of course, your questions haven't been answered because we only took 2 questions. So if you have questions, please register your feedback and your questions on the form so that we can get back to you with answers. There is another announcement, a very important one. I had seen in one of the chat messages asking why the program was not in a local language. So a similar seminar is soon taking place in your local languages. We cannot accommodate all local languages, but some of them will be there because this is happening at the state level. So please log on to chinmayayuvakendra.org to know more and sign up. I repeat, please log on to chinmayayuvakendra.org to know more and sign up. The link will be sent in your respective chat boxes. And a reminder again to please fill the Google Forms link that helps us to keep track of our feedback and will help you to connect with the Chinmaya Yuva Kendra in your own city. And if you liked whatever we presented today, please do connect, share the word, and be of use to Bharat Mata. Thank you so much. And my humble and sincere pranams to all the speakers that took their time to be present, be available, and share their thoughts with the august audience that we had today. I also thank the All India Chinmaya Yuva Kendra, the state level coordinators, the tech team, especially from Chennai, Mumbai, and Chinmaya International Residential School for managing the program very smoothly and for everybody for being such a great audience. Hari Om.
गुरुदेव तव महनीय कृपा गुरुदेव तव महनीय कृपा मेरे जीवन का अवलंबन है बस एक यही मेरा बल है गुरुदेव तव महनीय कृपा अज्ञान भरे संशय से भरे विपरीत विचारों से भी भरे मन के अंधकार को दूर करे वचनामृत से तव बोध कृपा गुरुदेव तव महनीय कृपा पल पल पग पग जीवन पथ पर गुरु साथ मेरे रक्षक बनकर बिसरू न कभी यह प्रेममयी आनंदमयी भवदीय कृपा गुरुदेव तव महनीय कृपा मेरे जीवन का अवलंबन है बस एक यही मेरा बल है गुरुदेव तव महनीय